Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Daily Insight. Today, we are discussing 5 things that small business owners can do during the pandemic. Our guest is an entrepreneur and a small business owner himself. Let's all welcome Michael Hudson. Hi, Michael.
Hey, how you doing, Randy?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining in Daily Insight.
I appreciate you having me and glad to be here. Thanks.
So, Michael, we're going to go right into it. As a result of COVID-19, many small business owners are suffering and they're trying to find ways to recover. What are some things that they can do right now during this time of crisis?
Well, that's a really good question. And yeah, you're right. Right now, COVID-19 is, we don't know when it's going to end. I mean, what a lot of people say is that we're on the virus's timetable as opposed to having our own timetable. So, preparation and survival is definitely key right now. So the first tip that we have to basically survive through this time is really analyzing your expenses. And that can be, really deciding what's going to be the most important as far as spending your money on. And so I suggest analyzing your expenses and then splitting up the expenses in 3 tiers. So tier A is going to be your must-haves. So it's going to be food, your mortgage or rent payment, the shelter over your head, your clothes, toilet paper, those necessities. And then you have tier B, which is going to be kind of your negotiable stuff. So, I mean, car payment, your credit card payment, gym memberships, things of that nature. And then tier C is going to be more so the things you don't really need. So like a nail salon, a haircut. As you can see here, my hair's starting to grow out a little bit. Need to get a haircut, facials, things of that nature. And so I highly suggest just taking all the things you put in tier C, just get rid of it. Because at the end of the day, it's a temporary sacrifice. And you'll be surprised at how much money you're going to save by just eliminating the things that you don't need right now. Because we don't know. We don't know if this is going to be another 6 months. We don't know if it's going to be 2 years. I mean, we really don't know how long this is going to be. So really analyzing your expenses to that extent is key.
Now, Michael, when we are analyzing our expenses, are we thinking of just personal expenses or business expenses, or do we really have to analyze both of them?
Well, for me, I would analyze both. I mean, if you're going to be, I mean, especially if you have a family, I mean, that's very important to consider as you're analyzing your expenses. And then when it comes to the business, I mean, depending on if your doors are open or not, or if you're an essential business or not, that's the, I guess you can say the potatoes and gravy when it comes to business, because at the end of the day, you need revenue to survive. So, usually with business owners that I talk to, I always advise them to always split their personal and their business separate from each other, just because it's easier to get tax deductions and things like that, and keeping track of things as well. So yeah, I would definitely do that analysis on both personal and business.
And these 3 tiers that you mentioned, are these really going to be the same for everyone? Or are these tiers going to be looking different for each person?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. And, it's going to vary. It really just depends, because it can be me, like my guilty pleasure is I love getting a haircut. My wife, she loves getting her nails done and loves getting her eyelashes done and things like that. So again, at the end of the day, it's a temporary sacrifice. Everybody's going to be different. But at the same time, you just really have to be honest with yourself. When you're splitting those 3 tiers, you really have to be honest and say, okay, this is the stuff that I really need, like as far as food goes. This is the stuff that's negotiable. I can at least get some type of forgiveness on, a credit card or a car payment. A lot of insurance companies, for example, are giving back refunds on insurance policies, things like that. And then thirdly, obviously, writing down the stuff that you do not need right now.
Yes. So for personal expenses, some people are thinking about stocking up on supplies, because they're thinking the pandemic, I don't know whether or not I'm going to have this available to me. That's why there's a lot of panic buying right now. Absolutely. What are your thoughts on that? Is that really a necessity, all of this panic buying?
Personally, no. I think for us to get through this, it has to be a team effort.
Mhm.
I think that the more we dedicate in helping others, whether it be staying home, keeping up with our hygiene and things of that nature, that's the only way we're going to get through this sooner rather than later. It's just working together, continue to adhere to the laws governed by each state, and just
Mhm.
doing our best to keep our composure and just living one day at a time.
Now, for business expenses, some small business owners are thinking, I want to cut down on my business expenses.
Hmm.
One of the things I can do is maybe reduce my employees, reduce my staff. Do you think that's a good idea in your opinion?
Well, it's really going to depend on the business and their business model. I think, I mean, personally, as a business owner, I'm always going to do everything that I can to maintain my employees, because at
Mhm.
the end of the day, they have families as well. So you're
Yes.
supporting them also.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, it's really going to come down to what your finances look like. I mean, if I own a restaurant or something that's closed right now, we
Mhm.
may have to make a difficult decision to maybe furlough employees, have them apply for unemployment until revenues come back in. But
Yes.
there's also a lot of options out there right now, such as the Triple P payroll protection program, as well
Mhm.
as the SBA disaster loan. So a lot of business owners are tapping into that as well. So if specifically to fund businesses to maintain employees. So that's always an option if they have to go for that, if they're in the rare case that they have to cut employees.
Yeah, that's good. It's you got to think about what's best really for your business, but
Mhm.
also for your employees. Are they going to do better with this government assistant program, or are they going to do better with me trying to keep them on when really there's nothing that I can offer them?
Right. Yeah. That's a really good point. And again, it just really comes down to what type of business you're running. I mean,
Mhm.
sadly, a lot of difficult decisions have to be made. But at the same time, again, the only way we're going to get through this is through compassion and through just working together to get through this.
I agree. Now, Michael, what's another thing that small business owners can do right now?
Another thing that they can do is increase income. So, there's a lot of opportunity out there to make more money, so to speak. Getting a second job, doing a side hustle. So, there's a lot of opportunity as far as the grocery stores are hiring, because, as you know, or as you mentioned earlier about the panic buying, there's still people that are still buying a lot of necessities, and these grocery stores are hiring like crazy to basically fulfill that demand and that need. You also have Uber, you have DoorDash, you have Instacart, you have so many creative ways to increase income. So, I mean, if you are furloughed or if you did lose your job, definitely take advantage of those opportunities, because the beauty of most of those jobs is that you can work your own schedule, which means you can make your own hours. And so the possibilities are endless as far as working as much or as little as you want.
So, if people do a side hustle, do they need to still work on their current business, or is the side hustle meant to replace that small business?
See, that's the beauty of these side hustles. A lot of these is that you can replace it. I mean, depending on how much time and effort you put into it, it could be in a replacement. But more times than not, usually they're kind of looked upon as a supplement to what you're already doing, because you never want to ignore your business. I mean, we'll get into more of the tips as to later, but you never want to ignore your business, because the more you ignore it, the more it's going to ignore you. So that's definitely something you don't
Mm.
want.
Yeah, that's a good tip. It sounds like these side hustles really are seasonal. Like what you
Hmm.
said with Grubhub, a lot of people are doing deliveries now.
Yeah,
So I guess it's just to supplement while the demand is there. But when maybe the demand's
exactly.
gone, maybe it ought to also be gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, Michael, there's also this notion that you need to spend money to make money. In your opinion, should a small business owner be spending more money on his business to increase his income?
Well, you always want to be careful as to what you're spending your money on.
Hmm.
For me, it's really spending money on two things: personal growth, because your best investment is yourself. That's going to be always be number one. And then two is marketing your business, whether it be creating webinars or things like that, creating online trainings, creating email campaigns for your clients. So if I were to spend money, those would be the two things I'd definitely be spending on right now.
Yeah, investing in yourself is never a bad investment.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So far, we've learned two things that small business owners can do right now. We'll learn the rest when we come back to Daily Insight.
Hello, Digital Nesters. Whenever I feel the weight of the world on my shoulders, I like to think about one of my favorite quotes from someone who I think we can relate to just a little bit at the moment. Anne Frank. She says, "I don't think of all the misery, but of the beauty that still remains." I find the beauty of flowers and nature and the feeling of the sunlight on my skin to be an instant mood booster. If these flowers can find their sun, we can find ours. But even if I'm stuck in a rut at the moment, I can always hope towards the future. That one day we'll find our sun, one day we'll find our rainbow, but tomorrow we can always start with being just a little bit better. So come along for the ride with us, Digital Nesters. Let us know what beauty you find in the world, and keep us updated on what you do every day to be a little bit better. And let's do it together, because together we grow. I'm Claudine Kadai, and we live in interesting times.
Welcome back to Daily Insight. We are here with entrepreneur Michael Hudson. Now, Michael, what are some other things that small business owners can do right now during this pandemic?
Yeah, Randy. So just to kind of give a recap of what we spoke about in case you're just joining the show now. So the first tip would be to analyze your expenses. So you want to split your expenses into three categories. One is your must-haves, two is your negotiables, and three is going to be the things that you don't necessarily need right now. Two is going to be increase your income. So there's a lot of opportunities that you can be creative and find ways to basically supplement with what you're doing now, which is running your business. And the new tip, the number three tip, is going to be to market yourself. So right now is the best time to get ahead of the competition and to be able to really stand out compared to your peers. And I say that because a lot of people, most of the people aren't spending money. The one thing that people usually gravitate towards are people that remember them. So yes. Ways to stay in front of people, say for example, you're part of real estate. A lot of my real estate colleagues are doing virtual tours. They're just adapting to what's happening now. So instead of taking someone through a house, with a person in person, they do FaceTime or they do Zoom, carry their computer or phone around, show them the house that way. I also have colleagues that do a bunch of online trainings, or they do online classes about certain aspects of their industry. And also doing other things like YouTube channel. Like for me, I'm really going all in on my YouTube channel right now because I just feel like video is a powerful way to just get your message across and just really educate people. So there's so many ways to market yourself, whether you want to pay a few dollars a week or a month, or do stuff for free. But there's always ways to go out there and put yourself in front of customers.
Now, Michael, I've also heard about email campaigns, but I don't really know anything about email campaigns. What are these things?
So email campaigns, usually they're told as drip campaigns. So these are things that, occasionally like companies will do like an email blast to customers, informing them about a product that they have, or informing them about a deal that they just closed, or informing them about certain aspects about their company, whether it be a success story or an interview or things like that. So it's just to keep your customer in the loop of what's going on in the company. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, what it does is it helps them remember you. So for example, say you're a plumber, you keep emailing somebody once a week, or it could even be like twice a week or something like that. And, they may not need your service now, but when they do, say their toilet busts or something like that, it'd be like, oh, Randy's the plumber. I'm going to go hit that guy up. So that's definitely something that is a positive out of it.
So it's a way to continue to market your business, maybe let your customers know that your business is still open,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe it's going to be opening soon when the economy opens.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's really a good way to just stay in front of your customer at all times, especially during this time, because I mean, why wouldn't they remember you
Mhm.
during this time when you're reaching out to them?
You also mentioned about hosting online courses and webinars. A lot of people, myself included, we're not really tech savvy. Are these webinars something hard to do?
No, not necessarily. I mean, the beauty of these I guess tools now is that, you know, when you join something, like for example, I have two sources here, like GoToMeeting is a good source and Live Webinar. When you go to those websites, usually they're really good at holding your hand and just showing you how to do it from start to finish.
Mhm.
So that's usually part of their service. And then also, you can always research on YouTube as well as to how to create a webinar. There's a lot of free courses and free content out there to utilize.
Yes, I've seen a lot of these webinars. A lot of them, they're really teaching something. It's
Mhm.
not just a direct hard sell like my business is open, this is the menu of our restaurant. It's
Yeah,
more like teaching their viewers something that they'll benefit from.
exactly. Yeah. It's again, video it's the future. It's definitely something extremely powerful because you can touch so many more people as compared to, like, you know, going to an auditorium and just speaking to like a few hundred people. You know, you can reach out. It's endless.
Yeah, it's very effective right now. Now,
Mhm.
Michael, what's another tip that small business owners can do right now?
So another tip business owners can do right now is grow yourself. You know, like I mentioned earlier, yourself is the best, highest investment. So not just money, but, you know, fitness. You know, learning new skills, broadening your horizon. So as much time as that we have now, especially if you're, you know, furloughed or taking some time off from work, you know, I really challenge you to learn something new every day, whether it be like a language or a new word out of the dictionary or a martial art or even starting a business. I mean, maybe that's something that's been on the back of your mind as well. I think learning something new is always going to expand your mind. It's always going to add an experience to your life that at the end of the day, it's going to help you grow.
So, how can these little side projects that you're encouraging help my small business? Like, for example, what will it benefit my business if I learn a foreign language?
Well, I mean, yeah, if you say that you have a restaurant and you know, you learn Spanish, I mean, you know, the more you can relate to the Spanish community, or any other language that you learn, or maybe, you know, you own a gym and you want to add like another component to it, say like a massage. You want to add like a massage aspect to it. I mean, learning massage, that's just adds another skill to your toolbox, you know. So I think at the end of the day, as you add more skills to yourself, you can provide more value to people.
Exactly. Now, Michael, what's the last thing that you can share with us for small business owners?
So the last thing is just being positivity. I think it's very easy to fall into the negativity that's going on, especially when you watch the news every day. You see all the deaths that are happening, you know, just the chaos that's just happening everywhere. I think it's easy to get sucked into that. But I think a lot of people are going to be defined by this moment right now, meaning I think people are going to really take advantage of this time to pivot and really decide what they want to be remembered for and what they truly want to do to lead to their happiness. So I think that maintaining that frame of mind is extremely important because, again, you know, it's so easy to fall into the trap of, you know, sadness and depression, especially now. So I think that when you maintain that positive frame of mind, anything is possible. You can do anything.
And how can having a positive mind help me to improve my small business?
Well, I think having a positive mind, especially during this time, is that, you know, you'll be able to get through anything. If you can get through this time of uncertainty and unpredictability, I mean, nothing will be able to weigh you down. So I think, you know, being an owner of a business, I think you're automatically a leader. And I think positivity is always going to be one of the biggest traits of a leader of an organization. So having that is really going to propel you. Is going to provide resiliency and perseverance, and you'll be able to have that rub off to the people that you're leading.
For you personally, what are things that you do to become more positive?
Yeah, so there's two things that I usually do. So I'm a huge believer in mantras, saying stuff to yourself. So, each day, wake up, pray, because gratitude is everything. So I do that. And then also, just utter some things to myself that will help me get through the day. And then at the same time, listening to positive self-talk. So there's a lot of good channels on YouTube for that. And then the second thing is just surrounding myself with other positive people. So, my family has a really good sense of humor. My wife has a really good sense of humor. I have great friends that are just, dreamers and doers, and they work hard. So it's good to just have a positive influence around you. And those things will always lift you up.
Wow, a lot of useful information that small business owners can do right now. What's some final words that you can tell them and to encourage them during these difficult times?
Well, some advice I would give business owners right now is just to really, really use this time to grow. I think we're never really going to have a time like this again. So you're always going to have two choices: whether you can wallow and complain and just wait for things to happen for you, or you can go out there and just take it. You can go out there and just do something about it, whether it be adapt, change the landscape of your business, or learn a new skill. So really take advantage of this time. And again, positivity is going to get you through it. So keep smiling and just keep living one day at a time.
Thanks, Michael. I think a lot of our viewers are really going to benefit from our interview today. Thank you again for sharing with us your insights, Michael.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me again.
All the best to you and your business.
Thanks.
There you have it, 5 things that you can do right now during this pandemic. What we learned isn't just for small business owners. Anyone can do these things. Whatever it takes to stay strong and to keep going, especially now that we live in interesting times. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. I am Randy Bernardino, and this is Daily Insight.